Check, check. All right. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, and you sound good now. So we
Okay,
should be
cool.
good.
Well, then I'll read you this because I woke up to this email. Good day. We wanted to reach out to you regarding the feedback you left in our survey about a sync issue and customer service. Before anything else, thank you for sharing your feedback. Here at Riverside, we're committed to delivering high quality recordings and aim to provide excellent customer service. We sincerely apologize as this is not what we want our users to experience, Colin with two L's. It's spelled with one. Our support team is dedicated to help, like they know this because I signed up. So what? Our support team is dedicated to helping customers like you troubleshoot each issue and provide assistance. Based on your comment, we would like to learn more and understand how we could advance the platform or how we can help you. Aside from the uh, uh, presumable typo with my name, this is a pretty well written. This is a boilerplate, though, don't you think?
At least the beginning is. Yeah.
Yeah, this has got to be a boilerplate. And then there, like you mentioned, sync issues. In the last couple of this is so political. In the last a couple of days, the product development team has rolled out updates to address different issues. We've made a lot of progress, with the majority of these issues that have been fixed. I think they meant having been fixed. Blah blah blah. Political bullshit. Would you like us to investigate a certain issue or inspect a recording further? We would be more than happy to look so we can assist slash advise you accordingly. Kindly provide us a summary of the issue together with the studio name, recording ID, and or track ID of the recording. So they basically just asked me to do all the shit that I've already done like 5 times. So this is my response. And then we can record a pod. You guys lost me. Not only did my issue never get resolved, it never even got attention. I have a specific disdain for organizations who have to wait until somebody is unhappy with them to give them the attention that they needed in the first place. Feel free to close this issue and discontinue your efforts to retain my business. I've found a better service for my podcasting needs. Good day to you.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day to
You
you.
put a classic liner on them. Oh man. You're royally pissed, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Royally
Oh my
pissed.
gosh, that's
I could
so
already
funny.
tell by
Dude.
Sarah's face that this was kind of a good story.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, man, I can write. I can write. I was especially proud of that one. And they did come back and they were like, well, we're sorry that we couldn't retain your business or something like that. If you ever choose to try Riverside again, let us know how we can help you. And I'm like, that's crazy because that's the first email that I got when I complained in the first place. Let us know how you can, like, we can help you. So, anyway, I thought you would be entertained by that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was.
Dude, one time I fucking I it was April Fools and I pranked my daughter. And I created a whole email thread of a back and forth between me and the director of a military school, like a fake military school, where like Colonel Stockholm or some shit like that. Anyway, yeah, dude, it was. I even designed a fucking logo for his email signature,
Of
dude.
course you
Like,
did. You're a
yeah,
designer.
yeah. And then on the last email that said that we were going to ship her to fucking Maine in 2 days to go to military school, got accidentally copied to her email and fucking how long did it take? It wasn't even like 5 minutes. We were in the kitchen in Calamasa. She was like, "What?" wait a minute, what? You're sending me to military school? And I was like, how do you know that? And yeah, it went about a good 2 or 3 minutes. And I was like, finally, I was like, April Fools, dude. I fucking did all of that.
Oh my god,
I don't know. I think you strung
master.
her along a lot longer than that.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'll send it to you, dude. It's fucking hilarious.
I'd
'Cause
say
I
for
was like-
I'd say for Phoenix in particular, that was a good fool's prank.
Yeah. She thought it was really funny. Her mom, on the other hand, did not. Her mom thought it was fucking mean. It pissed her off a lot.
I think that's what a lot of moms do.
But I went so hard, dude, because I was like, here at Intrepid Military Academy, I think is what I called it. Intrepid Military, Phoenix will not be used or be allowed to use a cell phone other than approved calls. She will wake up at 4:30 in the morning and do BT, like physical training, and like I just made it sound like the worst fucking place possible. And when I told her April Fools, I guess she thought it was pretty funny. But
Intrepid means resolute fearlessness or fortitude.
yeah, as a leader, yeah, intrepid. I've always loved that word. So yeah, I used it.
It's a metal
And it
sounding
was
word.
totally.
I'd say
It is kind of metal sounding. Speaking of metal, guess whose turn it is today?
Hi, I'm Colin, a musician for 3 decades, producer for 2, and FM radio pro for 1.
And I'm Caleb. I've grown to realize just how much I enjoy many different kinds of music.
Hell yeah, man.
And I've made it my mission to appreciate music on another level, beyond just hearing it.
So why don't you join us as Caleb and I take turns ripping into and sharing our favorite music with you. Take it away, brother. Let's freaking do this.
Children, plug your ears. The Diet of the Soul podcast has grown up words.
Whenever you're ready to.
Hello,
Oh, sorry.
God damn it. Why do we have to do this?
All right, I'll shut up.
Dude, welcome to
dude.
the Diet of the Soul podcast, everybody. The music podcast where we listen to, share some music, and discuss everything about music, and watch Colin figure out how to use Discord once in a while. I'm Caleb, and that's Colin.
What's up?
What's up, everybody?
Damn, dude. I didn't expect the roast. Hey,
I thought about
no.
that this morning. I'm like, I'm putting that shit in tonight.
That was a planned roast.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. No, it's well deserved too. Trust me. He's right. If this is your first Diet of the Soul podcast, you're going to understand. Fortunately, I'm not in control today, so I'm just going to kick back and be a fucking participant. And if you hear thunder, not my fault, because it's coming. We've been watching the radar all day, and we're getting some of that stone cold spring weather, baby. Which I recently heard that you're considering this location for your next home space. Is that true?
Who told you that?
I got birds, dude. I'm telling you, one of them is flying around right now.
I better be a little bit careful. I like to fly around a little too much.
There's a moth. Just seriously, dude. There's a moth flying around in here. No, I'm just playing, dude. I could see it in your eyes. Are you really thinking about kicking it over here?
Yeah, I would have to make another trip to have it dedicated to like finding a job, finding apartments, and doing like a bunch of research and actually like doing more of an in-depth experience of how the place is. But yeah.
So the listener, if you would be so kind to comment below, do you prefer this virtual environment, or would you like to see my little brother and me in the same room? Because
same room podcast.
It
would be a different feel, especially for us.
I think it would be better, honestly. Yeah. But I mean, I'm a little biased because if I learned that you were coming to be here on a permanent basis, It would be very difficult for me to contain my excitement because we're not actual brothers. We're brothers-in-law, right?
Mhm.
But, I think we're close enough to just say brothers, and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So to know that you would be near would be fucking sick. And before all the listeners start crying, we're not going to wax poetic about being brothers. We're going to talk about some fucking music. So it's not my turn today. I have no idea what I'm about to hear, see, or anything else. And I do feel like that's kind of the better way to do this, don't you? Like we tried that other thing, hearing it before, and it's just
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the same. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just not the same, man. I'm glad we reverted back.
Let's do it, dude. What do you got?
All right. Well, see, the thing is that I actually don't have anything because I want to do more of a topical discussion talk with you.
Holy shit. Okay.
I did mention mentioned
You did.
this to you before after the
Yeah.
recording from Tuesday.
I forgot about that. We're gonna swim in the deep end then.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
I don't know how deep this deep end will go, but we'll see what happens, man.
All right, hit me. What do we got?
It's a particular question and also a fear that's been looming over me for quite a while. I don't know exactly for how long, but it's regarding the death of music. And
What do you mean by the death of music?
a lot to unpack for it. I actually had to
Yeah,
write some
that's
notes
pretty
down
big.
before recording this too. I was like, yeah, this is a deep end discussion. I'm going to have to write some notes down. The death
Hell
of
yeah, dude.
music, as in how far music can go and take itself. And
Okay.
can it truly be infinite? And I had a little bit of this discussion with the parents. I'm like, it was regarding at least like with fair use and copyrighted music, like and cover songs. And well, there's only so many notes you can play and combine to make it to eventually you're going to have like the same sounding music, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
That's generally where I'm going with it, though, is that I'm actually genuinely scared about is this actually going to be continuing to be fresh and new, or is there going to be kind of a dead end at some point?
I have goosebumps. Because you're bringing up a thought that like, God damn it, Caleb. What a great question. Dude, like, oh, what, dude? Okay. All right, you're right. It's a lot to unpack.
Yes.
And what I'm going to tell you first off, before we even begin that discussion, is that the fact that you're thinking about that is further reinforcement in my belief in your ability to actually know what this is all about. So, like, my mind is blown. Like, that is a front seat question for sure. And I'm happy to share my opinion on it because I'm so shy about sharing my opinion. Simply put, I believe music is imminent, or not imminent, infinite. I think it's infinite. And here's why. I think that the reason that we all appreciate music in the way that we do is because it transcends boundaries, whether those boundaries be set by speech, or language. Like I can listen to Hispanic music, for instance, and have, and appreciate it without knowing like what they're saying. But that could be a barrier. There's all kinds of barriers in music, but the reason there's all kinds of barriers in music is because if you imagine a river that has many tributaries or like veins, it can literally go anywhere. So I think it's limitless. I think there is no dead end. I think that with the combination of human creativity and technology, it's a human art that will always move forward. I liken it to water. You can change its direction, but you can't stop it. Straight up. So, I mean, that yeah, and that's the energy of it, dude, is that also, if you think about it, over the course of time, as time marches on, things change. We've all seen that. When I was a kid, I had to freaking like send a carrier pigeon to ask if my friend could come over. You know what I mean? But like the world is constantly changing faster now than it ever has been before. I'm hearing things in music right now that were not possible 3-4 years ago. So I don't see it as building, and like stacking experiences, and then we just can't stack anymore, right? I see it as more of a river navigating, and it's, oh, dude, I could talk about this for days. It's easy to like fall into the trap of thinking about just American music, modern American music, right? Or British, or some of the main
I
sources
suppose
of
so.
music. There's music that, like, I grew up in a community that was very, very highly populated by Armenians and Persians, and I would hear their music and be influenced by their music. We both came up in the LA area, so of course there's that music. But people are taking ideas nowadays, and then when you take those ideas and you combine them with technology, which is speeding forward in the space and time, I don't see how we could ever do a dead end. I just don't see it. The wall. I just don't see it. As a matter of fact, I'll even go a step further and say that this is why it's important to you and important to me, is that music is going to go as far as humanity can go. Just like painting or these types of art, technology will define the art. The artist will use technology to create that art, right? I imagine the first few paintings were done with like stock from the wheat field or some shit, and then we found the paintbrush, right? And then the paintbrush found the ink pen, found the pencil, a rock turned into a canvas, and then we discovered paper and all that stuff. That's the crazy thing about, I mean, we're talking about music, but art in general. It is my belief that it is God's gift to humanity. I believe that if you are somebody who is gifted in this way and you choose not to use it or share it, that goes against God's will. Art, music, whatever art you want to talk about, poetry, sculpture, painting, rapping, beat making, producing, designing, like all that stuff that's how we push humanity forward. It's not Tesla's, but you would think about it, a Tesla actually is a result of a lot of creative people.
Right.
So, yeah, dude, I guess that was a very long-winded answer. I loved that question because you just opened the door for me to talk a whole lot about something I'm passionate about. But if you bring it down, there is no dead end. There is no wall. It will continue to change. It will continue to surprise us. It will continue to motivate us. It'll continue to keep us lifting weights or falling asleep. And this is why music is so beautiful, is that like many arts, you can find the things that you like and then you can focus in on those things and have it enrich your life. And I don't think that'll ever change because those demands will never be consistent. You know, you're going to like what you want to like, and I'm going to like what I'm going to like. Like, I could be hanging out having a beer with you, and you're a fucking Jay-Z fan, and I'm all into ska, but we can still get along. You know?
Yeah.
It's just, there's so many talented people in so many different ways out there that you can find what speaks to you. And the only way that you can really do that is if you go out and explore, which is why Spotify, Pandora, and streaming services like this, because you can literally hit click like or dislike, and then it will cater to your very taste. And the cool thing I think about that is that however specific your taste is, there's somebody out there who's doing that. There's probably multiple people out there that are doing that. And we live in an age now where technology can funnel that music to your ears because it's figured out just what you like and who does what you like. It's fucking insane. But that's always going to be changing. You know? I mean, we watched something that involved a lot of like 50s and 60s music recently in our house. And
Okay.
that's all we knew was sort of like doom tat tat doom tat doom tat tat, you know, like just very you know, like boppy music. And then you like if you went from that and then you fast forwarded to, you know, Tupac in the fucking early 90s, right? The reason why one was you know, possible is because the other exposed pop. And how can we take pop and make it something different that's a little more familiar to us in the hood, or better yet, more familiar to our African culture? It's going to be very heavy based on like beat, right? So I think that's where hip hop came from, is there was a demand for beat. And then people would perform poetry over that beat, and that became rap. And then they added vocals and shit and started to really blow it out, and that became hip hop. It's a constantly evolving thing. It's a constantly evolving thing. You can find the same thing in metal. You can find the same thing in fucking beat poetry. Like, it's just creativity grows with us. That's the gift from God. It's limitless. It's limitless. And really, like, if you think of architects, they're creative, right?
Yeah.
More thunder. People who build buildings or build cars or build ships or docks that the ships go to, like, there has to be, that's an educated type of creativity. And where you and I are, like the island that you and I are like setting up camp on, is that we're dealing with the more instinctual flow state kind of a creativity. We're talking about music. And you know, music has even changed the world through Bob Marley, Bob Dylan, other Bobs. I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like, it's you can't beat it. It's bigger than everything. It's bigger than everything, and that's the truth. Did
Yeah.
that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. And I keep thinking back on how you mentioned it will go on as long as humanity does,
Yeah.
which that I think that essentially answered my question was that. And um yeah, I think music is one of the signs that actually makes me believe in a higher power
Yeah. Totally, dude.
because of how beautiful it is and how it incorporates into humanity at such a insane degree.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool thought, dude. I mean, there are some music like groups or pieces out there that I'm sorry, it's not beautiful. Hashtag insane clown posse. Fuck those guys. But the thing is that they're selling out shows because it speaks to somebody. And that's why I think it's going to last as long as humanity. And it will keep growing as long as humanity has like our creative instinct. And that creative instinct, like there are some people in my life that are like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you sit down at a piano bench and start playing things that have never been written. It just comes straight out of your head. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know how you have so much money in your bank account because I can't figure out numbers for the fucking life of me. Right. So we're all given different gifts. So I agree with you that it is a blessing from God. I absolutely agree with you on that. I think that one of the coolest things about the interaction that we're having here is you know that for the gift that it is. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. They'll happily go to work, you know, listening to a musical piece that's been put together by somebody who's worked their fucking ass off to make this musical piece. And they're just like, it's not commercials, sweet. Like, you know, it's an underappreciated thing. And it's cool to know that you understand it to be as important as it is. Because there's a lot of really good shit out there. And I think of it as two gifts. One, maybe even three, now that I'm talking about it on a microphone. One is the ability to make music. I believe everybody does to some extent. It just matters how bad you want it and how far you practice it. Two, the ability to receive that gift that's being given to you by somebody like me or other musicians or whatever, and appreciate it. And then the third gift is the ability to appreciate it on another level because perhaps you've covered one and two. You're a maker, you're a listener, so you can be an appreciator, like a true appreciator. And that's not one gift, that's three right there, dude. And that shit can turn on the second you turn on your car. I mean, fuck, dude, I could pull up a video for you in 5 seconds and you and I and all of our listeners and producers there can appreciate it. And it's right here for us. So yeah, it is a gift from God and it's going to continue to change consistently. And that's another reason why I like it, dude. I remember when you texted me and you were like, hey, Sleep Token has a new fucking song, right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Yeah, and then it sounded different from all of their other shit, which all of their other shit sounds different from all of their other shit, but you know what I mean,
Yeah,
right?
it's
It
just
was
Sleep Token.
completely new.
Yeah.
And there's a opposite story, and I wonder if you thought about this when you were like addressing this question in your head or with your parents. I'm interested to hear about that. But there's another side to that. And there are artists out there who find the artery that squirts the most blood and then they suck on that. And some of them are one-hit wonders. Some of them are not. Some of them have made a really, really good living. Or just kind of not moving forward, just playing the same old shit. Hashtag Nickelback. Hashtag U2. Right? It not all people in the business are committed or even capable of moving music forward. And some of the artists that I've discussed with you so far, I think that you've noticed a trend. We've never heard this fucking shit before. When this came out, we never heard this shit before. Remember me saying that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said that about Korn. I said that about Deftones. I said that about fucking Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, basically new metal.
Linkin Park. Yeah, that's all the new metal stuff. But now, Sleep Token, we never heard anything like that before, right? There's
That's what makes me
Metallica.
appreciate Sleep Token is like, yeah, you know what? I see we finally got somebody that is capable of pushing it forward.
Pushing it forward.
It's not
dude.
just
And
not
I
just
don't.
about the music itself. It sounds good. It's like, yeah, you're actually helping this entire art as a whole.
Yeah. And I would say the same thing about them as I would said about the bands that we've talked about from 20 years ago. We never heard this shit before. This took us by surprise. And so I think the final answer to your question is I don't think that's ever going to stop. I think that there's always going to be somebody who knows that in order to make it doing what you love, you have to stick out. And it's the very definition of innovation due to competition. It will constantly change. Music will constantly change. And I can't wait, dude. Like for real, I can't wait. I love the direction it's going. So help me. Well, first of all, I want to know your conversation with your parents on this one, and I'd like to know what they said because I'm very curious. But I'd also like to know more about how long have you had that question, and before bringing it into the conversation here on Diet of the Soul, like where were you with that? The importance of music, is it going to reach a dead end? The way I understood your question is that is there a limit? Is there a limit at which point we can't move anymore? Because you said the phrase dead end. So help me understand, well, help me and our listeners understand, like, what was the genesis of that thought? Where does that come from?
Okay, so I guess we're starting with that question.
We can start with other question you want, dude.
Oh, that's what you just asked me. So no, that's all right.
Yeah, yeah, we're starting with that question.
What I believe the genesis would be, is probably from not letting myself discover new music, and why I
Okay.
appreciate that trip to my past trip to Colorado so much is that you gave me a reason to explore more and not just
Cool.
let some AI do it for me. You actually gave me a motivation to do it myself.
Oh shit! I thought you already had that.
No, not really. I just um just let AIs just give the music for me, or I'll just play a video game. I'll listen to a soundtrack. Like I used to listen to a lot of soundtracks and like cover songs, maybe some like music that YouTubers have made themselves. But that would be
Okay.
pretty much it. Which is why you coming with like new metal, and then also not only showing me good music, but also doing the next unlock would be um learning how to appreciate it
Okay.
and how to digest it layer by layer.
I'm glad to hear you use the word layers. That's perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Heck yeah, dude. Because yeah, you understand it by layers. Okay, so what brought about the thought of the finite nature? Your question, as I interpret it, is like, I'm all right. Let me know if I'm spot on here. Is that I set you upon a journey? I think what you just asked me is, does this journey have an end, or is it going to go on forever? Would you say that I have that kind of close?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the answer, as we've discovered, is it does. It's going to go on forever. Did you have that thought because it became so special to you that you didn't want it to stop?
Yeah.
Welcome. One and all, dude. Welcome to Caleb. Put it in the comments, dude, because if you understand the point that we just hit, then yeah, you get to come with us because that's exactly what it is. This is a journey that goes on forever. And if you make a commitment to explore, you're going to realize that there is so much out there, dude. So much. And it's mostly good. I trashed on Nickelback earlier. They found success in an industry that, frankly speaking, I never did in that way as far as being on stage. But there's some shit out there too. That's just dude. There was a band that was performing with us. They were opening for us, and they had a song called "Sweet Sweet Kicking It." It was the worst fucking song ever. It'd be like "Sweet Sweet Kicking It." Oh my god, dude. Nobody was in front of the stage because they were all at the bar trying to get so drunk that they don't have to listen to these motherfuckers anymore. And they were our opening band, so they were hurting our act. We had to let them go. There is bad music out there. Usually that's the music that's trying too hard to get your attention.
Oh, very good point.
Yeah.
That brings me back to we were designing I think my signature sticker, and you were like,
dude.
oh, I'm not. You know what? No, trash it. I'm trying too hard. Caleb, listen to me. It's not art if you're trying to force it, then it's just fake.
Dude.
Yeah, you said something like that. And
yeah,
that really stuck with me.
For the listener who might be new to this podcast, especially since it's a new podcast, I'm a designer. I'm a musician. I'm a producer. I'm a designer. And we were designing a cool sticker for Caleb to take home on his last visit. And he witnessed an example of something that I think all creative people should keep to your heart. What I said was, fuck it, I'm forcing it, dude. I'm forcing it. I can feel that I'm forcing it. I was forcing the design. We were trying to make something cool, and it just wasn't working out. I pulled every trick out of the book. This applies to musicians as well. You got to have the self-awareness to admit to yourself that you're forcing something that is just either a bad song or a bad design, or, I mean, it kind of could apply to everything, like how you raise children. Like, it could apply to, you just figure out where your line is. And what do? We scrapped the whole fucking thing and started over, didn't we?
Yeah. Like the entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who don't have that awareness. But for those who do and have a finger on the pulse of what's going on right now, they can be very successful in whatever art that they are motivated to pursue, right? Which is why I go back to my answer to your question that you had for me, which is because of that. Because there are people in this world who don't just want to meet their potential, they want to see what's beyond. And we see things like that in mathematics and science as well, theater, like they want to see what else is out there. It's the nature of the creative explorer. And some people don't have that, and that's fun. My wife has several times expressed to me that she wished she just had like a thing like that she could do in that area. Some people just don't think like that. And that's okay, because that only means that they have another skill set or another way of thinking to offer the world. And, the world as a whole seems like those people are the ones that are more valuable, which I think is a tragedy. But it will never, ever stop moving. Human curiosity cannot be quelched. It's just the truth.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I would refer to it as inner space. So we have outer space that humans seem compelled to constantly explore. So there are those of us who want to explore the inner space. And typically speaking, that doesn't have to be somebody who is like an amazing guitarist, musician, songwriter, singer, whatever the fuck. That can be whatever it is to you, but human creativity is the inner space. And even if you're not creating, if you're truly appreciating something that somebody else created, like your favorite song, right? Or your favorite meal or anything like that, to me that's part of the inner space. That's part of creativity, is because I think that if you think you are creative but you don't appreciate the creativity of other people, then you're not creative. You just think you are, right? We're constantly being influenced by external sources. I see this color, I want to use it in my next design. I hear that snare drum, I want to buy one, you know, and that's why it's so important to really listen over just hearing. And if you can't find a way to listen on the level like what we're talking about, you're just somebody who hears. Even if you appreciate, that's totally fine. That's just your space. You be where you're comfortable. But I think what this podcast is about is being creative through appreciating other people's creativity. And that's what you're telling me about as we got started, which is like, it's a bigger mind. It's a bigger mind. And not in like I mean, for all I know, the hippies had it all figured out with their, dancing and Woodstock and like really breaking it down. I don't know. I think that's a creative gift too. You could not play a single instrument, but if you can listen to music on that layered level that you mentioned, I think that makes you creative. It's got to be influencing you somehow, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I have to say about that. Is your
Very
idea
good.
satiated?
Yes. Yes, it would be. I never, granted, I never ever talked about this or gave a hint about wanting to talk about this to anyone.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I've never felt the need to, but now that we have a platform, and now it's like, oh, this is perfect.
Hell yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a
Well,
unique thing that I've never experienced either. Like a fear about a dead end of some sort.
that means you love it, dude.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't
I
you
guess you're
don't
right. I guess,
that
yeah, I have
dude,
a
that
bigger
just
love than I realize.
yeah, it's you finally have something that you truly value, not that you didn't have before, but like something that speaks to your heart that um like like we know heaven's never going to leave us and things like this, but that's an indication that you've got something that you really feel is special in your life. And I have good news for you, dude. There is no end in sight. The end of music and the end of creativity means the end of humankind altogether. And the end of humankind is going to be the thing that happens first. Those of us who create cannot stop. We cannot think about anything else. It's just what God put us here to do. And because of that,
He's the creator who made us. And so um not not to get like preachy or religious, but yeah, God being the creator and we being sons and daughters, we are also creators.
yeah, I
So
think
yeah.
so. And in the spirit of inclusiveness or whatever, listener, that's whoever God is to you, right? So, um, yeah, I do believe that it's very difficult in these days of high speed internet and music and videos on demand and all that stuff for people to remember that in the, all of this stuff that's happening in front of us, microphone, webcam, computers, and all that stuff, this is all because of creative people. Straight up. These are people who came up with a new idea, implemented it, and then introduced it to our world and executed. That is literally the definition of creation. So I think that music is probably one of the easiest ways. Dude, I've talked to fucking IT professionals, CEOs, CFOs, all kinds of big people who have confessed to me that their favorite part of the day is getting in the car to go home and blasting their favorite music. Who knows what it is? I never asked, don't care. It's music. It's music, dude. And because there are so many different tastes of people who listen to and appreciate music, and because there are so many people who have so many ideas about how to approach music, it will never stop changing. The end of music will be the end of humanity, and the end of humanity is going to happen first. It will never stop. So, and I'm tempted to say something about how, like, that's my opinion. Like, hey, that's just my opinion. It's fucking fact. That's not just my opinion. I'm telling you the truth. That's how it's going to happen. God didn't give this to us for nothing. So it would be really cool to maybe at some point explore the history of music, because music, for instance, the atrocity of slavery, when being worked to the bone in the hot southern sun, what did they do? They sang. There's a whole genre of music called slave songs. And
I think I vaguely remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, it's and it sucks also being a white guy mentioning this. It was an atrocity. There's no question about that. But yeah, there's a whole genre of music is the hymns that slaves would sing on the ships and in the fields. You also reference battle marches, like during the Revolutionary War, the American patriots would march into war to the beat of a snare drum and either a trumpet or a piccolo. They found rhythm in music. Music is the joyful noise that the Bible talks about when we want to express our faith in our Holy Father. We do that through music to hype up any kind of like team, especially football teams. We have an entire band, which is a symbiotic relationship between a football team getting hyped up by a band and a band who's learning how to become better at their individual instruments. Music is the thing that we refer to when we want to express love, whether it's writing a love song or sharing a love song with somebody else. Back when I was in my teenage years, we used to do these things called mixtapes. I'm sure that's a thing that you're familiar with. Only back then it was an actual fucking tape, and it took a long time to make. So when you gave a chick your mixtape, dude, that was like, I like you.
Yeah.
I like you. So, I mean, we could go on and on and on. Dude, when my washing machine fucking finishes with my clothes, it has a little
Mine too.
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Music, it's fucking everywhere, dude. It's everywhere. Down to ringtones. Everything from giant fucking concerts to just the hold music when you're at the elevator at the airport. It's everywhere, dude. With that kind of demand, there is no way that it could not outweigh. Sorry, demand will always outweigh supply, which means there will always be supply. And just like species on Earth, it too will evolve. It has evolved and will continue to do so. So don't worry, dude. As long as you stay interested, this is for you and the listener too. As long as you stay interested, there will be new shit for you. And we have tools to find out what that new shit is. But you might not even need those tools. For instance, I was introduced to my to a new band that I might bring up on this podcast that didn't come to me through Spotify or fucking Apple TV or fucking YouTube or Pandora or any of that shit. It came to me organically because somebody that is close to me mentioned it to me and said, "Hey, if you like this, you should check these guys out." So I did. They're awesome. They're
I
fucking
never had
cool as
that
hell.
moment myself. Hey, if you like this, you should listen to this. I've never had somebody actually say that to me,
Well, I gave you a whole fucking in and out receipt.
except for you. Well, yeah, except for you.
Yeah. So you'll hear the in and out receipt get mentioned probably a lot because it literally is the back of an in and out receipt. Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
We kind of focus on rock and sort of the metal attitude here. But brother, I've heard like Chilean music that is metal as fuck. I've heard yeah, like Arabic music. Like for instance,
Yeah.
System of a Down.
Oh, okay. That's one band that I'm almost gonna check out. I mean, almost as in like I'm kind of preparing myself. I've only heard of Chop Suey, obviously, and BYOB.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Like
cool. Okay, you mentioned System of a Down.
because if you listen to System of a Down's music carefully, specifically the percussion, they work a lot of Persian and Armenian drum beats into their music. A lot of people don't know that. They're all Armenian, all of them. And I mentioned earlier that I grew up in a town that had a lot of Armenians. So, I kind of knew about them long before a lot of people did. But if you listen to it, and then you listen to Persian or Armenian music, Persian being from Iran, so like Irani kind of music, and then listen to a System of the Down. Sorry, I said System of a Down. You'll hear it. Because that's the shit that they were listening to growing up. That's what their parents were playing. Just like a lot of Mexican kids our age grew up listening to mariachi. And then they became rock musicians, and so you'll hear mariachi influences in their music. And so again, yet another example. It will always be changing because we were all born with sort of a compulsion to make something new out of our influences. And some people don't know where that is, and some people die without knowing where that is. But I think it's one of the reasons that I've had such a interesting life is because I've always been trying to chase that, and it's taken me to so many different places. I've been in so many different bands. I've set up and taken down 1,000 live shows, and then ended up at a giant radio station with a very important position. Like that interest pulls you places, but it can be a fickle mistress as well. You don't want to get lost in it, and unless you're planning to. If you're planning to get lost in freaking 10,000 Days by Tool beginning to end on the beach and not want to talk to anybody, then fuck yeah, dude, do that. But
yeah, for me personally, that's like a special occasion. Sometimes I'll re-listen to albums. Like lately, I've been the albums I've been listening to. I need to actually go back and because it's from work and it's from like one earbud. Now I'm like, okay, I've got the general gist of what I've heard. Now I actually need to like do a full dive. I go back home and do it be in a quiet space.
Dude, that's how you listen and not hear.
That's how
That's
you listen and
exactly what
not
I'm
hear.
talking
Yeah,
about,
I know.
dude. Fire me up,
Oh,
dude.
man.
Preach it. That's exactly what I'm talking about, bro. That's exactly what I'm talking about, bro. And you're gonna find that more people than you think have that's like self-care for them. That's get the fuck out of my space. I don't have to deal with HR or that annoying assistant from finance department or any of that shit. Like, I'm gonna fucking pour a glass of wine, turn off the lights, light a candle, and listen to whatever the fuck this is from beginning to end. It's a form of meditation for a lot of people.
Maybe that's why I actually I don't know what the right word is. Liked or appreciated Iowa, the album, because I actually took the time
By Slipknot.
Yeah, by Slipknot.
Yeah.
My second episode, my previous episode.
Right.
Yeah, was because yeah, I knew that was special. And also the reason why I picked that album to begin with was because it was a part of there was a meme about metal albums, but they get more disturbing, and Slipknot was like tier 4 or 3, and I'm like, you know what, I kept seeing it. I'm like, okay, you know what, it's a popular band, I should listen to it. Yeah. It was intense, but I'm glad I actually sat down. Something about being in a quiet space actually makes me appreciate it.
Yeah,
Music.
so for me, I don't have to sit there and not be doing anything else. Usually if I am like I've dedicated myself to listen to music and really hear it, I'm also doing something creative, whether it be on my digital art or just doodling on a pad. But that only helps me like pay super attention to what I'm hearing. And it's cool if I'm using a doodle pad, usually I sometimes feel like I'm not the artist. The band I'm listening to is the artist. And the image that comes up on the paper is directly related to the mood that I got from whatever it is I'm listening to. And it's interesting to see what comes out sometimes. But see, that's the thing, dude, is that you brought up kind of a deep subject and then said there's a lot to unpack. And what you really done is opened a can of worms. I mean, we're just scratching the surface here, dog. You know what I mean? Like,
interesting metaphor.
yeah.
Yeah.
What, the can of worms?
Yeah, the difference.
Yeah. No, this is deeply philosophical shit. I mean, the research about what we know about the effect that music has on us as characters and people and spirits, I think the only thing that's more misunderstood is why and how we dream. And man, would I love to know that question. So yeah, dude, you could talk about that all day, man. It's part of being human. It's right up there with all of the questions that we have unanswered. What makes a spirit? What makes sentient like beings? What makes feelings? What makes dreams? And the other cool thing is that we speak to each other this way. I'll give you an example, and then I say we should pull up some music to take us off. Is that with no internet, no telephone, no connection whatsoever, the fastest way to get from one person on a continent to another continent took like fucking continent would take months, dude.
Yeah.
So there was a time where all of us were not connected. So you had your Asians and your Indians and your Russians and Europeans, and then at some point your Americans or Native Americans, which is more important to think about, South Americans, Australians, although Australian was kind of a prisoner. Anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. Somehow, without communication, at the most basic observation, we all found the same scales. Think about that for a second. We all found the same scales. Now, Arabics used it differently than, say, Europeans. American Indians used it maybe kind of similar to South America and Central America, but when you listen to these different types of music, you're hearing very different types of song. But when you think about it, they're all using the same notes. How the fuck is that? That is the gift that God gave us. They're using the same notes. The standard note is a 440A. It's an A note at the wavelength of 440, and it's found throughout cultures, all the way up to Eskimos. Ask yourself how that happened. So it's like we all have this connection, this universal connection that we were unaware of. And not only does it make us want to express ourselves in a certain way, but it also makes us want to hear and bring those connections in on all of those channels that are the same notes. It's just different ways to use them. And then when you hear something that you totally like really like, in my opinion, there is no feeling closer to true love. And a lot of marriages are formed by somebody being like, hey, my favorite song is Stairway to Heaven. That's my favorite song ever. And then the other person is like, holy shit, dude, that's my favorite song. Like, we bond over it. And we find ways to speak to each other through it. So unless you're death or a fucking psychopath, like, it's a language that we all speak to each other. And that's what makes it beautiful, dude. Straight up. So
you mentioned music. How far are we in?
probably about 50 minutes. Of course, when I get talking, time goes by a lot quicker because time flies.
See,
when you're
this is
having
why
fun.
I knew like the question. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see where this takes us because I'm talking with Colin and nobody else. So I think I'm fine for a good like hour episode.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, I appreciate you being here, being a part of all this. I mean, this was your idea, I know, but
no, it was Sarah's idea.
Cool. Oh, it was Sarah's idea for a music podcast?
Yeah. Remember we were talking about music in my car and Sarah was in the back seat and she was like, dude, you guys, this makes for a really good podcast. And then I was like, holy shit, she's right.
Oh, I thought it was like your idea, and you were saying like, oh, I've had this like podcast idea for a little while now, but I think I finally found someone who could help me, and that's you.
It wasn't this idea. It was I've tried multiple podcasts in the past, and whoever I've tried to do it with was either not motivated or wouldn't show up or didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. And so Sarah was right, dude. Producer Sarah in the cut figured it out.
All right.
And I knew for a fact that you would show up and you would give it your 100%. And so, yeah, man.
Good thing she's your wife.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Yeah, man.
So, dude, you got a piece of music you want to play? Because I have something in mind.
Yes, it's been on my mind. I do actually have.
Do it. Do it.
Have it.
Foo Fighters. Fuck yeah, dude.
Okay. This takes a little bit explaining. This isn't the original Everlong by Foo Fighters. This is a cover song from the Super Mario 64 sound font.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a cover song, kind of, but it's bit crushed. I think bit crushed is the right term.
What is bit crushed? What does that mean?
Bit crushed. Oh God. Bit crushed.
Dude, I'm old, dude.
I know. I've heard the term before. It's definitely video game related. It's an audio effect that produces distortion by reducing the resolution or bandwidth of digital audio data. This means
Oh, so
This
this
means
sounds like
you're deliberately lowering the audio quality of a signal for creative purposes.
well, that is also the birth of guitar distortion that is ubiquitous in rock and metal today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where distortion came from because a lot of guys were turning the guitars up as high as they could. They're electric guitars, but they'd have these shitty little practice amps, and it would distort the guitars, and that eventually became the style because it was, dude, I could talk about this all day. It's the same, yeah, dude.
Yeah, I know.
There's so many examples throughout music of that. So purposely introducing what was formerly regarded as a defect because there are so many poor ass musicians out there, it just became the style. And now they're paying a lot of money to replicate that style that came about because people couldn't afford decent equipment. So I'm thinking this might be kind of the same thing.
Okay. I don't know where this trend came from. This is a recent trend, by the way, to take Nintendo titles or like old video games from the 90s or 80s and use their sound fonts from the system and then put them in modern music. It's so fascinating. Not just Everlong, but like entire albums. They did Lateralis by the Nintendo 64 sound font. It's insane. They did $3 bills, y'all. It's insane what they're capable of doing.
Whoa, hold on, dude. We're running out of time, so I want to make a note because I want to talk about it in the next episode.
Like I
you
said,
just dropped some fucking knowledge that I didn't know. And you mentioned two bands rather, where that seems like something I would have wanted to know.
I know. I'm so sorry, but do you want me to bring this back on my episode?
Maybe, but give us a synopsis. So you're saying Tool and Limp Bizkit have used this type of processing? Is that what you're saying?
Not the bands themselves, like just YouTubers, just like small YouTubers that like started this trend and now they're doing it to like random albums from random bands.
Well, I can't wait to hear this then.
I brought this up because Everlong is my favorite song, and also this is my favorite like sound font remake or cover.
Yeah, you had my interest. Now you have my attention.
Yeah. Like I said, there was a bit to unpack there, but yeah. Here we go.
What, dude? Also, I've never heard of a sound font.
Actually, me neither. It's fascinating because it weirdly it fits.
And this shit is trending right now, hey?
Yeah, it is. Not by like a super like millions of views, but it should be because this is absolutely fascinating to me. But they only have like a couple of thousand, maybe like a couple tens of thousand views, and that's it. It's a very small subgenre right now that just started.
Okay.
It feels like I discovered lo-fi for the first time. Because I discovered lo-fi when it was really small, and now I see it as like the go-to genre for chill stuff. So I'm actually wondering if this is gonna go somewhere.
Oh. I mean, this is MIDI technology, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not new technology. It's
no.
This is definitely done just in MIDI. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I feel like I'm playing like fucking Mario Brothers or like Gran Turismo or some shit.
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, like back in the day, dude. Dude, when I first started playing video games, like this would have been considered advanced music. Totally unexpected, dude. Totally unexpected. I don't think we're gonna get copyrighted for this.
Yeah, see, that's another why I'm like, you know what? I think we're good. I think we can play this all the way through.
I mean, they have the arrangement down pat.
Yeah, and the particular MIDI sound effects that they use for different, like for the lyrics, for the drums, like how everything's situated is like, you know what? Yeah, this is smart. How it's actually situated. This wasn't slapped together.
Right. What the fuck was that?
It's supposed to be Mario snoring.
Okay, that is slightly disturbing.
I think they put that in because it's as a replacement for like the whispering in Everlong. Because there's like a whispering section in Everlong. That's why they replaced it with Mario.
Oh, here's the hook again.
Yeah, Everlong is like, it's my favorite song because it kind of it's like a synopsis of my life in a way. I don't know. It's something that I would have to personally explore a little bit more, but that's the best way I can describe it.
Well, after that exploration is done, join activity. Oh, I fucked up again.
You just leave that activity.
Yeah, that's how we do it. All right. Yeah, once you finish processing that, I'd like to hear more about it. Foo Fighters, you know that was the drummer, Dave Grohl was a drummer for Nirvana, right?
No, I don't know too much about Nirvana.
Nirvana was huge in the early to mid 90s. I would say even late 80s. Dave Grohl, who was the frontman for the Foo Fighters, was the drummer for Nirvana. They were fucking huge, dude. They were huge.
They're iconic, yeah.
Yeah. Almost as iconic as the way that Kurt Cobain left us. Dave Grohl had a period of sort of like recollecting himself, and then he came back and he did the Foo Fighters, which have been nothing short of a legacy. He's and not as a drummer. He's the lead vocalist and a guitar player, so he's not even on the drums. And the guy he had on the drums, who of course the name I can't come up with right now because ADD. I don't know. I know his name, I just can't remember it. Passed away about 6 months ago. Unintentional overdose, and he was a cool drummer and apparently a really cool guy. So, why do we always end the podcast on fucking people dying?
I don't know.
It's just,
oh my god.
Sorry guys, I didn't mean to do that to you. Let's just take rest in the fact that he was a really, really good guy, and he brought a lot of cheer to a lot of, a lot of people.
Yeah, he had a good legacy.
Yeah. So, well, dude.
Well.
I certainly did not expect video game music, but like old school video game music. The first song that you did when we started this was video game music, but that was from
the 90s.
Final Fantasy 7. Yeah.
Yeah, from
I
like
was like,
2020.
dude, video game music has come this fucking far, and you were like, yeah. I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
what you just heard is exactly what it used to sound like like literally 10 years after the first video game system came out. So interesting poll, dude. Interesting poll.
I have
All
so
right,
much
dude.
more to share, but I can wait.
There's so much more there. Is that what you said?
There's so much more but it can wait. Like the
Okay.
world that I can expose you to.
That's why we're doing
That's
this,
why
dude.
we're doing this, baby. Diet of the
Fucking
soul.
A, dude. All right, bring us out.
All right. Yeah. Hey, guys. If you listen this far, thank you so much. If you watch this far, thank you so much for watching. Let us know your thoughts about what our topic was today. If you have any questions, if you have any music you want to share or recommend,
Yeah.
please consider giving a follow on whatever platform you may be listening to this on. And don't forget to rock on.
Fucking A, dude. Don't just hear. Listen.
Diet of the soul out.
Big brain.